Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Rock and Turk Sports Show. My name is Rocco Foggio, and I'm one of the hosts of the show. And back in the saddle this week is Justin Turk, who told me he was sick last week, but I think he was just exhausted from his Dominican Republic vacation. And also Dom, the ref Regio, who took a week off from fighting crime and Comic-Con to come join us again this week. So glad to have both of them back in the studio. For our new listeners, we're a couple former athletes turned coaches that will bring you the week's top national and local sports stories and debate on them using our unique sports perspective and experiences. But before we get the show started, I wanted to let you know that the show today is sponsored and brought to you by Blaze Contracting.
Rock and Turk Sports Show is brought to you in part by Blaze Contracting Incorporated. Blaze is a heavy civil site contractor that self-performs mass.
Sometimes during the commercial, we'll talk during it. We don't want to stick it up.
Installations, land balance and grading, storm sewer, sanitary sewer, and water main installations throughout Michigan, Ohio,
Okay,
and
I'm out.
Blaze has
See you guys later.
Hey, as they tell you in football, keep your head on the swivel.
Yeah. Clean your cleats. You hear some screaming upstairs in the neighborhood. You hear some screaming upstairs.
And the new Little Caesars Red Wings Arena. Hey, sports fans, if you're out there listening, you are involved in the development, construction process of upgrading or improving exterior property or infrastructure, you need to give Blaze a call. They can provide valuable assistance from the beginning stages all the way through the budgeting, design, and of course, the construction process phases of your project. You will experience the administrative ease provided by Blaze that will ensure that your project will be completed on time and within budget. Allow Blaze to light the fire for you that paves your road to success. Give them a call today. Call 313-361-1000 or visit their website at www.blazecontracting.com.
What's going on, fellas?
Hey.
Back in the saddle.
Back at it again. I don't appreciate you telling people that I allegedly was sick. I was actually really sick. I love the trip, but rule number one: don't eat Wendy's at the airport. Rule number one.
I knew it was something, and there was some food that got you
It
sick.
was. A lot of food, a lot of partying, but caught up with me at the end. But I'm good. I'm back just in time. But what we here for. I'm ready. Let's go.
So Dom, how we told everybody you were chasing supervillains the last 2 weeks. How's it going?
I'm a terrible superhero. I got no villains. I was just chasing girls,
That's the next best thing.
It was good, though. Yeah, glad to be back.
Hey, well, we want to let you know that definitely we need to have, this is going to be a pretty action-packed show, so we're going to try to get started right away. But before Dom gets us going, just want to let you know, because I've been told multiple times we need to get the phone number out more. So here you go. It's 248-721-8570. And also, if you can't get through on the phone line, hit us on the Twitter at Rock and Turk Sports with a Z. That's at ROCKNTURKSSPORTZ, Rock and Sports with a Z. And again, that phone number is 248-721-8570. So what do we got going on today, Dom?
All right, we're going to get an NBA Finals update, and we're going to talk about the fan complaints about Kevin Durant being on the Warriors. Turk.
NBA Finals update. Well, for those of you who fell asleep early last night, you mixed one of the most impressive games of the playoffs, I will say. But the Warriors once again came out victorious, which puts them at a 3-0 lead. Mm-hmm. So the Warriors, as I've said through this entire show, episode number 8, that the Warriors would win the NBA championship. They're one win away. Not only are they one win away, they've got a chance to go undefeated, which would be the first time in NBA history that a team has gone undefeated through the playoffs to win the NBA championship. So,
first time 15 in a row as well.
Yes, they broke a record yesterday. They were tied, I think, with the Cleveland Cavaliers for most consecutive wins in playoffs because Cavaliers started last year. They broke the record with the dagger yesterday by my man KD. Actually, I clapped it up because everybody knows I'm anti-Cleveland, anti-LeBron. We'll talk about that later. But just a quick analysis, as I've said, and I think it always comes down to star power in the finals. And the reality of it is that, as great as LeBron has played, he's been phenomenal. He's been phenomenal for most parts of the game. The stars on Golden State have outplayed the stars on Cleveland. If I would have told you before the series started that Cleveland would not out if I told you that LeBron James and Kyrie Irving would not outscore KD and Curry, but the Cavs would somehow win, you think I was crazy. Well, the reality is that LeBron James and Kyrie have not outscored KD and Curry. They have not been more efficient with the ball. They've not been better as a collective group, and the numbers show it. And that if you look at those numbers, and if you take it even to the big four on each team, which would be Draymond and Clay and Tristan and Kevin Love, the gap is even bigger. And that gap in scoring between the two pretty much tells you who's winning each game. It's pretty much the average point differential.
I'm pretty, disappointed in the fact that, we figured, okay, this has been a pretty bad playoffs, and, both teams were well rested, both teams were healthy, and we were going to come in and see 7-game series, slobber knocker, go down to the wire, and it wasn't the fact that, and I wasn't even shocked that, if Cleveland would have been down 2-0, but it's the way that it happened, and it's how, like you said, they are getting just outplayed in every aspect, even hustle, even desire, want to. And the thing that I draw upon is where everyone, yesterday I heard something, they said, well, somebody on the Browns, I don't know if it was an exec or a teammate, told him, you're doing great, LeBron, everything, but you have to do more. And I'm like, what more do you want this guy to do? And what I'm looking at is, like you said, not only they're getting outplayed by the stars, but they're getting outplayed by the quote-unquote role players from Golden State. But I'm going to say something that people, and I'm not a LeBron hater, and it's going to be the fanboys are going to jump up and down about this, but I'm going to tell you this whole situation is LeBron's fault. And everybody looks at me and they're going to say, well, what do you mean it's LeBron's fault? Look, not LeBron the player, LeBron the de facto GM.
Yeah, there we go.
Because,
now we're talking.
Because here's what happens. Now, you got Kyrie, you got LeBron, you got Kevin Love. Now, I don't know if they're all, a lot of people say they're 3 Hall of Famers. I see Kyrie and Love got to prove it. That Minnesota years when he was the only guy on the team, those may be hollow numbers. So, but here's what you do. LeBron goes out, and I get it, and I've told Turk this before, he got a lot of has-beens and never was and some maybe never will be. Okay? You look at their roster of their reserves, Channing Frye, 11-plus years in the league. I think it's 12 or 13, but Richard Jefferson, 15 years. Dante Jones, 11 or 12 years. James Jones, 11 or 12 years. Kyle Korver, 13 years. Deron Williams, about 13 years. These are guys that Richard Jefferson was pretty good in his day. And Kyle Korver has always been a piece, and Deron Williams was great way back before. Once he left, he started to slide after he left Utah. But these guys nowhere near are the pieces. And then he brought in Derek Williams as well. He brought in these pieces that just don't contribute. And then, now here's the big problem. This is where I say, now that's okay. You bring those guys in because they're cheap. But he also brought those in because those are all they could really afford. And here's the reason why they can only afford them. You bring in J.R. Smith. And I know I'm always hard on him because you know what? Everybody wants to say he's an excellent player, he's a star, whatever. I don't think so. And by the way, he carries himself on and off the court. But here's what you go. They signed J.R. Smith to 4-year, $57 million contract. He made $12.8 million this year.
12.8. Guess how much does Steph Curry make?
I didn't look up that.
It's about 12.9, but go ahead.
Okay. So here you go. Game 1, 3 points, 2 turnovers. Game 2 of the finals, 0 points, 2 rebounds, 1 turnover. Game 3 last night, he put some work in, 16 points, 1 rebound, and turnover. He's had a couple big boneheaded mistakes that have cost, given some momentum to Golden State. Now here's his over in the finals. He's averaging 6 points a game, which really that game last night helped him. 1 rebound, 1 turnover. And his overall playoff, 6 points, 2 rebounds, 1 turnover. And next year he's scheduled to make $13.7 million. Does that stat line look like, that's a guy, to me, that check that you're making, that you're a contributor. You're a major player, okay? Nothing from him. Next one, and I've always had a problem with this one. Tristan Thompson, 5 years, $82 million, made $15.3 this year. Final stat so far, 2.7 points per game and 3 rebounds. Now, he's signed to be a rebounding machine. He's the present-day poor man's Dennis Rodman, okay? Game 1, 0 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Game 2, 8 points, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 assist. Game 3, 0 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks. Overall playoffs, he's been averaging 8 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 turnover. Now, I'm not worried about the point aspect of it, but I should be reading that if you have 0 points, you should have 12 to 15 rebounds. Now, Kevin Love's been balling. He's been getting it. Now, I know some of it is strategy. They've been pulling him out to guard people, keeping him out the paint.
He's
which is
been
fine.
rebounding. As a big man, he's been rebounding.
Not who?
Kevin Love.
Yeah, Kevin Love
He
been
hasn't,
killing
he
it.
hasn't been shooting the ball great, but he's been rebounding.
Yeah, but that's not what they pay. They pay Kevin Love for points, and that he's getting the extra rebound. He's getting 18, 20 some rebounds. He's been averaging. But Tristan Thompson, you have one job,
And
you're
I
not
actually,
doing it.
when I noted right here, the biggest, and even J.R. Smith, I don't count him in the big four. Tristan Thompson is probably the biggest indictment on the NBA Finals right now, because you're talking about a guy who held out to make sure he got his money, and LeBron made sure he got
Yeah, 'cause they
paid.
got the same age.
Yeah, like you said, like this is the GM part of LeBron. These are guys, Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert. You're talking about $42 million, right? That's barely giving you 10 points a game, and barely giving you. I mean, it's like 10, 11 points a game. Tristan Thompson is giving you 4 rebounds a game. Steph Curry is averaging 10 rebounds a game.
Yeah, that's
It
the
is
problem.
it is unbelievable that what they're getting out of some of these large contracts. Let me ask Rocco, if I told you this, what do Cleveland Cavaliers, the Portland Trail Blazers, the LA Clippers, the San Antonio Spurs, the Memphis Grizzlies, the Toronto Raptors, what do all those teams have in common?
Maybe the only thing I guess is maybe the same salary cap.
They all have higher team salaries than the Golden State Warriors, with KD. Cleveland has the highest salary in the NBA. And I know people say, "Oh, that don't matter." It kind of matters, because I understand, LeBron James is a high salary guy. He deserves every dollar he gets.
Absolutely.
Kyrie, even, Kevin Love, pay those guys. But when you get past Kevin Love and you talk about what you're getting for your dollar value, when you talk about, LeBron is giving you 32, 12, and 10. He's averaging triple-double in the finals. He's earning his check. Kyrie, he's giving you 27 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. As a point guard, I question his assists total when you compare it to what Curry's giving you, who's not supposed to be as big a facilitator as Kyrie should be.
I think Kyrie's problem is also not that. I think his basketball IQ. He makes, as a point guard,
He does some
makes
suspect.
that call.
He pounds the rock. He kills
Yeah.
the momentum. He did it last night.
Or he just draw.
Now Kevin Love, he's averaging 17 and 14, but he shoots 38%. Right? Tristan, you said 3 points, 4 rebounds. Those 4 guys are counting over $100 million in your salary, and Tristan is about $18 million a year, and he is giving you nothing. He's averaging 22 minutes a game. The guy's not even playing. Number one, so they can't even afford to have him on the court. When last year he was a critical piece. So something's going on.
I think part of the problem is with him is people may laugh at me. Mozgov was a bigger body in there, and he was also shielding. He might not have got the board, but allowed Thompson to go after. So they don't have any big men. They don't have anybody that's down there. So he's the only person down there. And now, like they said, they figured out how to get him out the paint to go out and cover some guys on their switches.
And I will say this, Zaza has done a good job. They've done a great job boxing out Tristan. The balls they can't rebound, they're tipping the teammates. They've done a good job of eliminating him as an impact player, which they needed. He was an impact player in last year's finals. Anybody who watched those 7 games, when he switched, he was phenomenal on defense. He got so many second chance opportunities for the Cleveland Cavs. They're missing that game totally.
Here's another problem too. You have J.R. Smith in the game who really, if he gets hot, he's streaky. But you know who else is getting a lot of boards is Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
Because you know what they're doing. They're just not respecting a lot of Cleveland. Him and Shumpert, they're leaving him alone, or they're just not respecting him. And so everyone, like you said, for Steph to have 10 rebounds, and he's a couple games last night where he got some boards in the paint, put it back up.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
he should not. He don't belong down
They're
there.
getting 16 rebounds between Curry and Clay. I mean, that's not even close.
Right, so these stats of like Kyrie and Love and everybody prior, like in the conference finals, I don't know if you guys have that in front of you, but where are those stats compared to their final stats? Were they better in the conference finals?
LeBron's have been about the same, and I would say Kyrie's been about the same. Kevin Love's field goal percentage has gone down. He averaged 22 points a game going into the finals.
I mean, some of that is defense.
That's-
Golden State is
that's what I was
they
getting
have.
at.
They
Yeah.
definitely played
and
better
this is the
defense.
best team that they played.
But I mean, the fact of the matter is that if you want to win the series, these are the matchups you had to
Absolutely.
win.
Absolutely.
If you don't win these matchups, you aren't going to win the series. I mean, KD has basically he's basically been pound for pound just as good as LeBron. That alone is a problem.
Got a caller coming in.
Welcome to the Rock and Turk Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, what's up, Turk? Rocco,
What's happening?
What's
What you
going
got?
on?
Drake.
Mr. Spurs.
Mr. Spurs. Yeah, what you got?
Mr. Spurs. You said the Spurs were going to take it home, didn't you?
Cavs will win, but yes, I said Spurs. Rocco, you said Rockets. And Turk, you said the Wizards.
I said the Warriors will win the finals. I said they play the Wizards, and I retracted that 3 weeks ago. But go ahead. I know you coming on here. Yeah, go ahead. I know you feeling bad right now.
I said nothing. I'm the only one that was right.
Well, this is the hey Dre. Let's talk. Let's talk about. It's not. Dre, stop. What you're doing right now is trying to pacify what LeBron is not doing. All right. You're trying to say you're saying this is the greatest team. All right, let's not talk about last year. Let's just talk about this year because they didn't win 73 games this year, and they barely won. They barely won the West.
Yeah,
But this is about winning championships, all right? It's not, if you want to get participation trophies, you go somewhere else. This is about winning championships. LeBron didn't handpick his roster to go to the finals and lose. He handpicked his roster so that he could go to the championships and bring them back to Cleveland. I understand what he did last year. We gave him props. He came back with 3-1. He was phenomenal.
Andre,
But let's talk about this year. But they had Love and Kyrie last year. Dre, you can't say that because they had Love and Kyrie last year. It went down to the last possession with those guys on the roster. So you can't just assume they would have won the first year.
Hey, Dre, let me ask you. So, Dre, let me.
But they took away. All right, listen. They took away Harrison Barnes, who was. I'm not saying he was great, but he's a max player in Dallas. He's a player who was giving them 12, 13 points a game. They took away Bogut, who was their best defensive big man. They took away Ezeli, who was a great big man off the bench. They took away Spates. They took away Barbosa. I mean, I'm not saying KD is not a better player, but this is not the 73-win team last year. You know what Golden State does? They draft players, they develop players on their roster, which makes them have the capability of going out and getting KD. So why we're crying about KD? If they don't have KD, they don't even have a $100 million roster. So should they have not added KD? Okay, fine, but look, Dre. Okay, but even if he was making, listen, if he was making, if he was making, let's give Steph a max deal right now. Let's add it to the books. They're still $13 million cheaper than Cleveland. So what's your excuse then?
Hold on, wait. Hey, before we need to down the ref. Whoa, hey, Dre, let me say one thing though, and this is what I pointed out. So you're talking about LeBron the GM. Dante Jones and James Jones, I don't even know the last time I seen them play in a regular season game, okay? Then they bring in Kyle Korver, who they wanted a shooter. But Channing Frye, he ain't done nothing since he left Arizona. And then
Channing Frye's making, I think he's making $8 million a year.
He is. He's making.
And the dude hasn't even played in the finals. Okay. Bro, we're talking about 3-0 in the finals, man. Don't live in the past. Let's talk about these three games.
What I'm saying is, if you're looking at this roster, and even if you take some of the bench people, some of the secondary stars or role players off of Golden State, here's the bottom line. If J.R. Smith came to play and Tristan Thompson came to play, we wouldn't be talking about this right now.
No, it wouldn't be 3-0.
It may be 2-2, maybe 2-1, maybe 1-2. Cleveland may be up 3-0. But the fact is, he got these guys all together. He brought these guys in, and they're not producing. And they're all and really, as they used to say at school, they're getting tight booty, man. When the lights come on, they tighten up on them. And this man, and I'm not a LeBron hater, I like him. You can't ask him to do much more than what he's doing.
How can the salary not matter, Dre? When the Cleveland Cavaliers they're making But he didn't.
Wait, but it's not even about him. It's not about him missing that shot. They went on an 11-0 run. I understand, but they went on an 11-0 run, bro.
We're not here to talk about ifs, man. We want reality.
No, I'm just saying, but that's also part of the problem is once from a weak East.
The final, the East is not.
That's what's been going on.
Dre, and we gotta. Listen, Dre, we gotta cut you short. But listen, it wasn't long ago we were sitting here talking about could. Listen, it wasn't long ago we were talking about could a team of East All-Stars beat the Cleveland Cavs. That conversation was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Could you get the 5 best players in the East to beat the Cavs? And now we got to get on here and listen to how much better the Warriors are when the Cavs have been whooping everybody's ass in the East for 3 years, and now you want to cry about the West. Don't come on here crying, all right? You about to get sweep. Stop.
All
There's
right,
no law against that, man. Have a good day. We appreciate your
Appreciate
call.
call, Dre.
Thanks
See
for the
you.
call. He hung up.
You know what? Dre helped us segue into our next.
No, listen. Dre is the he is the role model for the KD Bonfire Association right now. It is astonishing. We've been on 8 shows. All right, the finals just started last week. Before last week, did somebody ever call in here and say, you know what, KD is a sucker for going to the Golden State Warriors? We ain't had that all year. We haven't had that all year until the finals. Until people say, you know what, Golden State's a lot better than Cleveland. I want somebody to call in here and tell me KD was leaving OKC, all right? Let's just get that out of the way. Him and Russ was not going to win together. They cannot coexist. Russ dominates the ball. KD was not happy in OKC. So when he said, I'm leaving, he looked at a list of teams and said, these are the teams that will pay me that I can go to. Those teams were Golden State, Washington, was the Spurs on that list?
Spurs, right.
And the Spurs.
Yeah.
Out of those 3 teams, what fool would not go to Golden State? Like, what clown would not? He said, I can't go there. That's my rival. Really? Why? Because Golden State just became relevant 2 years ago?
And he's, what is he, 28?
How is that a rival? Golden State just got on the map.
What's
They
wrong?
just got on the map.
But see,
What's wrong with getting traded to a team?
He didn't even get traded. He was a free
Here's
agent.
free agent,
Here's
yeah.
the thing. Here's the
But they
thing.
make it sound like this Bulls versus Celtics,
Yeah.
Pistons. OKC and Golden State. San Antonio was the biggest rival for Golden State. Furthermore, Golden State is new to the party. They were not relevant 5 years ago. So this whole your rival crap is a bunch of bull for a bunch of butthurt LeBron James fans. That's all it is.
I got your answer.
Yeah.
It's called fanboy.
It's fanboys,
Here's what
man.
it is.
It is ridiculous. This team is so much better than us now. Why can
Fanboy
KD do that?
If you
It's ridiculous.
Go ahead, Rocco.
If you leave, okay, if you force your way out of town, it's your right, and I understand. But these guys, LeBron, KD, these guys fulfilled their duty, played their contract, made their money,
Yeah.
made their team as good as they can,
Right.
and they decided to leave.
And LeBron handpicked this situation. He went to Miami and said, hey, Chris, come with me.
But what I'm saying is, that is their right.
Yeah.
If
Free
they can-
market.
And people, and I don't, that's why I say fanboy, you don't hear too many athletes get mad. Hey, this is business. It's not a game. This is business. You got families. So that's the fanboy thing, is that when a guy leaves, you know what? Anybody, let's put it in work terms. Okay, Turk, let's just say you work for construction company A.
Yeah.
And construction company B comes in and says, "Hey, you're a hell of a PM. You know what we're gonna do? We want you to be the PM for our whole franchise across the United States. We're gonna bump you up. We're gonna take your salary to $250,000."
But I can't do that because you're a competitor construction company
Yep. Yep, you got to retire.
Yeah, right.
But when you leave, though, right? You're not gonna. Here's my question. Everybody who's out there, put this in this terms. Anyone who's ever left the job, have you left the job for less money, less benefits, less anything, just because you say, "I'm gonna try to make this company better," and you're not getting that. So, all I'm saying is, these guys leave. It's their right, and you know what? This is the way the NBA is now. So if you're an NBA fan and you think it's great, this is what I've been arguing with. That's how you know everybody's making super teams. If you don't like it, then quit watching. But this is this is what's come in. Guys want to go join super teams. They won't leave. Here's the thing with the Pistons. The Pistons probably never going to be good again because no one's unless we draft someone who it turns up to be a star, like a LeBron or something like that, or Clay,
or 3 stars.
something like that. Not Clay, I meant not Steph. And then guys want to come play with.
But this is the thing. I'm fine with the super team era.
That's right.
Super
Just don't
teams has
complain
been a
about it.
part.
People don't complain
The
about
New England Patriots are a super team. This team that the New England Patriots have assembled is a super team. It's up to the NFL to figure out how to beat them, and they can be beat. The Warriors are a super team. The Cavs are a super team. All right? It's up to teams to figure out how to beat them. Now, somebody's going to figure out how to compete with Golden State, and they're eventually going to lose. That's the reality of it. But as long as you can do it within the bounds of the legal system, legally, they're going to re-sign Steph and KD, and they're going to bring the same. And then what? You can't talk about that weak contract anymore because they still got 7 teams that have a higher salary than them. So why are you crying about what KD
Nobody
did?
cried when LaMarcus Aldridge, who people may not, he was a pretty dominant player up in Portland, and when he went to the Spurs, no one said anything.
Charles Barkley shopped the whole league trying to get a ring. Karl Malone did the same thing. He was sold his left arm to get a ring. He waited till he became a 4th option, and he never got a ring. And you know what? A lot of those guys, when the stigma they get attached with, those guys are great,
Losers.
But he never won the championship.
Right.
Charles Barkley won the best power forward, but he never won the championship.
Hey, you got a Twitter that came in that said, at Young Turk Wise, man, you can't be more wrong. Most players wanted the Cavs to win because they hated what KD did.
Really? Can you show me the poll of most players where they did that? Is this a feeling you got, or this is something that's concrete where you got evidence? You got interviews? Who did you interview? What did Andre Drummond say? Did he care? Did Reggie Jackson care?
If no one can tell, Turk is pretty passionate.
Yeah, I don't understand why we crying about it. Like, why is the topic KD shouldn't have left OKC? The topic should be, look how good Golden State is year 1 with KD. Because if I remember right, LeBron James got a pass when he went to Miami. They said, you know what? It takes more than 1 year. Because he went to San Antonio and got bounced. And they said, you know what? It takes more than 1 year. Dallas. Dallas wasn't even that good. It takes more than 1 year for players this great to work together. KD went down there and became the number 1 player, like I said a couple of weeks ago. And Curry and Clay have tailored their game to play with KD, and it's been beautiful basketball. But we can't talk about that. We got to talk about why KD leave one of his rivals.
Well, I think what it is, the bottom line, we got to move on, but the bottom line is, people are nervous now if you're a fan that base their team. Because if you look at this right now, if they stay healthy and Klay Thompson may leave,
they got him under contract for 2 more years, though.
So for the next 2 years, but then now they could disband for 2 years. It's pretty much if LeBron can't figure it out or put something there. Because here's the thing: if LeBron gets hurt next year or something happens, just right now, anybody, do you see Boston, Washington, anyone who, Indiana Pacers, Atlanta, anybody who's in the playoffs here, do you even think this would even be anybody other than a LeBron-led team could even play? And that's why people, I think, are upset, is because really outside of San Antonio, there's no one, with a healthy San Antonio, there's no one who can compete with Golden State. And I think that's why you got so many people that are angry.
All right.
That's my personal.
I mean, I cannot believe people are this mad. I mean, LeBron James, Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, Ray Allen, who was still a great shooter at the time, Mike Miller. They had a dominant team. I even rooted for LeBron when he went to Miami because he won in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Go win the championship. Super team era.
Turk can't believe people are this mad.
I can't believe people care.
They're rolling in on you, Turk. The tweets are rolling.
I can't believe people are this mad.
I got his mic turned down all the way bottom. He's like, I can't believe anyone's mad.
All right, what do we got next?
All right, Rocco, you're up next. Michigan State University's troubling offseason continues. 3 players charged with rape.
All right, so as you know, I think it was our second show. We talked about just the state of Michigan State as a whole, and a lot of what we said, their troubling offseason that started in January with multiple different infractions, and we went through that. So as we had spoke before, that we kind of know through our sources and being involved in the sports world and in business, that we have contacts and people. So we have our sources like every other show, and things come in that we can't speak on it because it's not out in the public, or we have to be careful what we say. But we knew that the players that were announced, we had heard about this and what it was, and some of the other things that are going to be coming out. So for anybody who doesn't know, Michigan State had 3 players and 3 players and a coach were all suspended for matters relating to a sexual assault. The coach was basically what it came down, or he wasn't even a coach, he was a special assistant, or he had a special title, but he technically wasn't a coach. He was basically released. He wasn't, his contract was not renewed. Basically, he knew the players. He had spoken with the players about what went down, and he basically didn't report to anybody and let them know, so he was basically not re-signed. Now, on Tuesday, 3 players were charged with different counts of sexual assault. So I'll just give you, Josh King was charged with 1st-degree and 3rd-degree sexual assault, 1 count of capturing and distributing an image of an unclothed person, and a lot of that is, I'll get into the rest of that. Donnie Corley was charged with 3rd-degree sexual assault, and Demetric Vance was charged with 3rd-degree sexual assault. Now, the max penalty for these is pretty serious. If Donnie Corley and Vance with the 3rd-degree sexual assault, the maximum is up to 15 years in prison, and King has the more serious charges. If he is, the max is charged him is life in prison. So what basically happened is, this is the condensed version of the police report or testimony. On January 16th, King pulled the alleged victim into the bathroom, forced her to perform oral sex against her will, then penetrated her against her will. King then invited Corley and Vance, and the victim was forced to perform oral sex on them against her will. And at some point, all of this was recorded on a cell phone. And that's where he gets King gets the one count of capturing and distributing an image. And what's even a little more disturbing is the cell phone was, I guess it was turned over by King, and the alleged incident and text message chain contained some incriminating information. So this is what's coming out of Michigan State. All 3 players have been dismissed from the team, and they are. I know one of them has been arraigned already, and I think the other 2, if it hasn't happened yet, it will. Oh no, it did. Corley and Vance are on $1,000 bond, and King's bail is set at $25,000. So, pretty serious charges. Pretty serious allegations, and there's other things that are going to come out. There's once again through some Turk sources, he got a little more information on what's going on. We can't, once it comes out, we can do it. Has to do with the cell phone stuff. But the one thing that I will say is, if the things that we've been told is true, what's on that, it's pretty disturbing, and these guys are in trouble.
Yeah, we've heard about this for a while now. We haven't obviously been able to name names, but this is the thing about when you hear stories like this, and when I'm learning in media, you get sources that tell you things, and when you get multiple sources confirming the same names, usually that means that something is right. Then you get sources giving more details, and there are multiple sources. That's really not a good sign for where this thing is going. Like I said, in high school, I tell the kids all the time, man. I mean, in the social media age, let's just before I talk about social media, let's say if what they did is accurate, then they should be penalized by the law. It's ridiculous that at a school that you think that you would have to force somebody to do anything against their will. That's number one.
And let's not we play football. It comes easy.
Yeah, you don't. That's just an ego thing. You're being ridiculous. Number 2, though, whether it was against their will or not, like the social media thing is so out of control to where, what are these kids thinking? I don't understand how something like that gets on videotape and gets in circulation. And from what we've heard, it doesn't look good. Obviously, the authorities have seen the videotape, and they still decided to prosecute. So one thing you got to understand is when you're looking at a video, and depending on what you get on that, how much you get on that video feed, you can't necessarily determine consent off of what they show you. So then it becomes what they see. All they can do is collaborate the stories to what they see, and then make an assessment of what happened based on any physical harm that may have happened to the person and the testimony of the witnesses and the victim.
But on that video, the reason why I would say, like you said, if it's video and they watched it and still press, at some
charges.
point there must have been no stop, don't do this, or she was so intoxicated, incapacitated that. So there's something
on the video that said we still need to press charges, which is a problem because a lot of times these things, if you watch the history of these things, a lot of stuff comes out and it gets settled out of court, or it goes in mistrial, whatever, and the person decides not to press charges, whatever. This has gone on for what, 7-8 months now?
Well, since January, 6 months. Yeah.
6 months, okay, 6 months, and now they're going to court. This is they're kicked off the team, and they're not out of school. They're not coming back. Court. I hate to talk about talent, but I mean, Corley was a NFL prospect. Yeah. He was a trending Big Ten player.
He had his ticket. He could write his own.
Yeah.
Ticket.
Josh King was the number 1 player at his position in the Midwest. He was the number 1 player out of the state of Illinois. A phenomenal talent at defensive end. Yeah. And the Vance was another. I think he's a cast.
He was going to strike. Strike. He looked good in spring ball, or not in practice in the season, and that they were looking for big things.
And this is just another example of Michigan State's had a tough road. And I mean, it came out earlier. I think Humphrey from Houston Texans. Yep. It came out now that he had a sexual misconduct situation in Michigan State that never became public.
I don't think the Texans, because they're looking into it now.
Well, they released them.
Oh, did they?
They ended up releasing them. So we got it. I know Mark D'Antonio. The board has come out and said that Mark D'Antonio's job is safe. Honestly, and I'm gonna sit here and say it. I don't know how his job is safe. Well, I don't understand that.
Well, that's the next thing we're talking about. Here's what I say, and this is a hard topic because number one, my whole thing is if you got a mom, you don't do it. Period. You don't need. But anybody who's got them, all these guys got moms, and I can't imagine that you wouldn't want this to happen to your mom.
No.
Why would you perpetrate this on somebody else? But here's the thing, and I think compared to what happened at obviously Penn State, different story, but it's same kind of sexual assault, how it was reported. I think obviously we know all the horrible stuff that happened down at Baylor. That was just coaches knew and they just covered it up. I think D'Antoni, no matter what you say, there's still, just like there's due process, he still has to follow up and do what he needs to do. So here's what happened. His kind of timeline is, okay, when he found out, he was interrupted in a meeting, a team meeting, and basically he stopped the meeting. Once he was told about the assault, he stopped the meeting. He immediately reported the incident to the school's Office of Institutional Equity, and he suspended all the players and then also Curtis Blackwell. So immediately upon doing that, he took action. Now, at that point, it says that he didn't do anything else, which everybody didn't do anything. Well, what can he do? It was reported to the school, they did their investigation, they're looking into it. Now, once they finished, the Title IX investigation was done and they found some wrongdoing, then the police went on and started their investigation. Now, the minute that he was sitting, someone sat down with him and said, hey, this is what happened, went down, then he got rid of him immediately. So he still, he can't just get rid of somebody off, because it could be she said, maybe it wasn't, maybe, what if this video, my whole question is now, obviously he got rid of him because he's probably seen the video, but what if the video showed that they were innocent and that this was consensual? So there's a line that head coaches have to walk, and it's a tight line. I think he did the best he could, so I'm not going to slam him on this, but the thing that I will say is there's starting to become some institutional not being able to control.
I understand that. I'm not saying that he couldn't do more to stop this, but we got to question when you look at if we look at a timeline of Michigan State right now, the last 3 years, there's too much of this going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like okay, I know that the teenagers are teenagers at every school. Baylor's an example of where this thing got out of control, but I've never seen it this concentrated. I mean, Michigan State, D'Antonio came out after these allegations came out and said, we've got a zero tolerance policy. This is not allowed here. And after that, they've had 2 more incidents.
Yeah.
So either the kids are saying, I don't believe him, or I don't care.
This is something that we were going to probably touch on this in a couple months when we get to, we open up the new show. But the thing with is the way that these kids are, we got recruited and they, we felt special. That's their job, to make you feel special. But we had a gift out. It is so, with the social media, with everything, it's so overboard. And these guys almost feel they're untouchable, but they lose that this is a privilege to play college football. And I think it's becoming that they are, and also it comes from the home. You look at some of these guys, not picking anybody out in particular, but a lot of these dudes that we call savages do savage things. You start looking at their home life, their background, explains why. So
Well, I know Josh King came from a poor background. I think they said that he lived in a apartment with seven siblings.
But it doesn't matter poor. It matters.
It's about
how
support.
you're raised.
And I only say that I don't know if both his parents were. I don't know. But you know what? I don't use that as a question.
No, it's not a question.
What?
But what I'm saying is, those are the type of people that are coming in.
Yeah.
And then here's the other thing we talked about. What I brought up: when you go out and it just seems to go hand in hand. Your top talent seems to have more and more problems, because when I was in school, we had a basketball player that he was a good player, was not a bad person, but he did so much stuff in high school he got away with because he was a great star. And when he came to Purdue, he did a couple things and he got away with a lot until he finally got caught. The thing is, these guys are giving people let them slide because they're such great athletes. And all that happens is if you don't put the hammer down, it's just like you said, Pavlov's dog.
I got to look up King. Go ahead.
I was wondering, what was D'Antonio's zero tolerance policy?
Well, he made it. This probably was
Turk's
March.
trying to figure it out.
No, in March after this all came out,
Yeah.
they didn't name names. This was before the spring game. Before the spring game,
Okay.
They asked him about it because there was a bunch of players who weren't dressed. They didn't know which ones were involved in the incident and which ones were suspended. And he said around that time that this is an issue that I take a lot of. I'm very concerned about in my school. We have talked to the team, and this is we have a moving forward. This is unacceptable.
Right.
Like this is going to be with swift repercussions. Right. After that incident, they've had 2 more kids have some type of sexual charges, misconduct. One of them was the kid that they had to go chase down.
From Indiana.
Yeah, Austin.
Oh, yeah.
It was him and it was one other kid. And my question is like, I mean, I understand, drugs, alcohol, that stuff, but this is just, this is not a good.
This is your character.
This is
we're talking
yeah,
about.
and I think Mark D'Antonio is an upstanding person. Everything that I've heard about him, that he's has a man of high character. He makes sure that these guys do things the right way, or at least that's the way that he comes across. He's very disciplined, but somewhere along the line, it's been a disconnect. And I'm not saying he's not doing his job, but the job is results. There's a disconnect.
I think it comes down to what we all say. We hope that, could be like everybody's like Saban, but here's what happens. D'Antonio is one of the highest paid coaches. He's up there top. I think he's top 6 or 7 now. And the problem is when you start making that paycheck, just like Bob Stoops, just like a lot of these guys that seem like their programs are kind of getting out of control, they're having issues and problems. When you take that hammer approach, right, and he cleaned up Michigan State, all with John L., all that crazy stuff. He, took his lumps his first 2 years, and then, like we said, last 4 or 5 years, he's been 10 wins, 11 wins, major bowl games. At that point, it's just like anything. When your lifestyle changes and you move up and you go from eating, peanut butter and jelly to steak every night, who wants to, you're working a questionable job, who wants to go back to eating peanut butter and jelly? I think some of these guys get up there. I'm not saying that he's at that, but it seems like there is, if you want to stay on the level of success that you have, there are some type of players that you have to recruit. I think I want to see Clemson, because right now Dabo is a pretty upfront. He doesn't take a lot of bull crap. I want to see how long that lasts, because now they're probably a top 15 program now, and if they keep.
I would call him top 15, but yeah.
I mean, not in ranking. Program like he's all together.
Legendary.
Okay.
Right
Right now, in this day and age, right now. Okay. How long does the only person, and even Saban has problems. He's gotten rid of some guys in the last 4 or 5 years. He's just on the low. So are they people? And they've been some very talented young men. So the question is this maybe D'Antonio's thing? We've been at the mountaintop. We were at, obviously they didn't beat Alabama, more closer, but they made the playoffs. And he wants to get back there and compete. Is he settling? Because I'm thinking the whole thing is the guy that he took that had a questionable.
Austin Robertson.
He was and he had a lot of stuff that he had to do that they checked on him constantly. He had to talk to D'Antonio about all kinds of things. Is he starting to let his moral slide to get those guys to take him to the next level?
We talked about it in the last about his recruiting classes, that recently he's been pushing the envelope. Those 4 stars with checker passes. I will say that like Austin Robertson was a guy. I don't know if King. I don't remember if King.
I've heard nothing but.
I've heard nothing of Corley either. I've had nothing but good things about him. So I don't know if it's the kids that have the checker pass mixing in with the other kids, and this is what you get or what. But this is not good. Like this what you read. This play by play about pulling the girl in the bathroom. If that's what happened, if that's happening, and we're talking about on a campus, if this is what's happening, then we got a problem.
Right? Here's the other thing. If we got any, we have a lot of young players that listen. Here's another thing. Let's say this was all consensual, right? Let's say it was okay. And I've been in school, you've been in school, and we've been exposed. I've walked in on some things. Here's the situation.
Walk out.
But here's the situation. Let's say it was consensual. There was 3 guys in that bathroom, and she was down or whatever. Here's the problem. Number one is social media. Everything gets out faster. Here's the other thing. If that door opens up, or someone peeks in, or someone hears about it and starts saying, "Oh, she's this," and she's going to be embarrassed. Most girls will turn that story around, and I've seen it. We had a guy at Purdue was in a similar situation. Him and some girls and had a little fun or whatever. And then when it was over, one of the girls called her mom, said, "Oh, I did this and I was drunk. I remember." Her mom was like, "That's rape." And what happened was he got suspended his whole senior year. He had a redshirt, but he got suspended his whole senior year. Missed out. Was going to be a top, maybe low first round, second round pick. Ended up missing this whole season, and basically came down to the fact when they got to court, she had come there. She just said, "I was just mad," but he missed a whole year. I think he was a 7th round. It ruined his whole career.
And I know we got
real quick. The point is, all things that seem good ain't good, and you got to use your mind. And you also have to know that if you make a mistake, you are going to be tried in the court of public opinion.
And I'll say this as we go move on to the next topic. It's not about if you did something right or wrong. It's about the perception, especially with social media, like you were saying. In college, I walked in on things and I said, "Hey, that doesn't look good. I'm out."
Right.
It's not about, I didn't do nothing wrong. No, it's about how it's perceived, because the court of public opinion with social media will bury you. And one thing you don't want, there's a couple things you don't want to ever be charged with, whether you get found innocent or guilty, it doesn't matter at that point. You don't want to be any sexual misconduct, rape charges. You don't want to be about any molestation, things like that. You don't ever want to be, you know what I'm saying? And the one thing they say in high school is that when you take kids, it's not about whether you want 2 kids in a car and then you go off with them. It's the reason they say that is because, not because you might do something wrong, it's because if it's just one of you, it's one against the other. And what happens is you don't want to be in any situation where it perceives to be a bad.
Back that up. So what he's saying is, we as coaches, we get a lot of training on how to do things just because of today's day and age. So what he's saying is, if we have a meeting with, like, back in the day, coach wants to come grill you or cuss you out. Well, if you bring him to your office, you can't close the door. If you have to give a kid a ride home, there has to be 2 of them, and you have to let them both out at the same destination, same place. You can never, as a coach, be alone with a player or a student or things that now, because of, you got to have someone there to second that this happened, this did happen. So that's what he's trying to say.
You don't ever want to be in a situation where you're worried against somebody else's. Because with those type of charges, it doesn't matter. They've got videotape on this. Like you said, they've already decided to charge them still. They're moving forward to charges. That's not good, even if they've seen the video. We'll see what happens. I'm hoping that, all I hope is that the truth comes out and justice is served.
So, him bringing up the court of public opinion, what's the next topic, Don?
All right, Colin Kaepernick, is he now officially being blackballed by the NFL? Go ahead, Rocco.
So, a lot of people know this was a big deal during the season, at least at the start of the season. It died down. Colin Kaepernick is now a free agent, and we are 6 months, or not 6 months, we are 3 months in the free agency, and he still has not been signed. And you know what you say? You say a lot of things, and you say maybe nobody wants, or maybe he's no good, or maybe he's that, no, this, and that, right? Then you start seeing, well, last week opened my eyes up. But then last week he went, or a week and a half ago, he went with the Seattle Seahawks. They worked him out. Pete Carroll spoke highly of him. A lot of people saw things, spoke highly of him. Everyone's thinking he's signing. He walks out the building. Next day, they signed Austin Davis.
Austin who?
Exactly. So when I saw that, I said, okay, Pete Carroll's pretty groundbreaking for NFL. He's always on the cutting edge, kind of like Chip Kelly was in college. Like anything that's new, he's trying to do to get it advantage. He fits that system great. And here's the other thing: why would you not want to? And he said he's capable of being an NFL starter. So why would you not want a capable starter behind you, knowing that Russell Wilson got banged up a little bit this year? So then I said, okay, let me go look and see how many quarterbacks have been signed this offseason. 20 quarterbacks have been signed. Okay, I'm gonna try to get through it real quick. Bears, Mike Glennon, 3 years, $45 million, and Sanchez. So Mike Glennon is probably the biggest one. But he's the biggest one. Sanchez, 1 year, $2 million. 49ers signed Hoyer for 2 years, $12 million. Matt Barkley, 2 years, $4 million. Nick Foles went back to the Eagles, 2 years, $11 million. Josh McCown, who's bounced around everywhere, even here, signed with the Jets, 1 year, $6 million. Landry Jones re-upped with the Steelers. Now this one bothers me. The Giants, Geno Smith, 1 year, 1.2. Josh Johnson, 2 years, $1 million. Now I'll get back after you talk to Mayor's comments on why the Giants bothers me and how this will tie in. E.J. Manuel signed by the Raiders, 1 year, $800,000. Kellen Moore re-signed with the Cowboys, 1 year, $775,000. The Rams, Aaron Murray has never taken a snap in the NFL, and they're a struggling franchise. Saints, Chase Daniels, I'll go with that because he knows the system. He's been there. Vikings signed Case Keenum, 1 year, $2 million. David Follis, a 2014 draft pick with the Dolphins, has only attempted 5 passes in his career, and they need, they could use as many good quarterbacks as they have. T.J. Yates, good player, back up with the Bills. McGloin, who was kind of second, third string with the Raiders, he signed with the Eagles. Blaine Gabbert, who he started over in San Francisco after the 4th week, he's with the Cardinals. Ryan Fitzpatrick is the backup to the Bucs, which, okay, take what you mean. I'd rather have him. And then back again, Austin Davis, signed by the Seahawks. He's played 2 games in his 2 years in the league. Now one was with the Browns. So my question is to you, does this sound, because everybody's saying it's not, does this sound like he's being blackballed?
I absolutely think he's being blackballed. One thing that struck me was Pete Carroll said that Colin Kaepernick is a starting quarterback in the NFL. He said that. And if you don't want to start a quarterback as your backup, because Russell Wilson's a mobile guy. He's a guy that takes a lot of hits. The Seattle Seahawks line is not very good. I would guarantee this. If something happens to Russell Wilson early in the offseason or early in the season this year, Austin Davis will not be handed the keys to the ship. They will find a veteran to come in.
Seeing that you say that, here's furthermore what goes to it. So, as he goes in there and works out, they say he's number 1 quarterback coming in after the workout, number one quarterback after he leaves. So that lets me know Carroll is either lying or he doesn't want to keep him because he doesn't want his worth all the fuss. Now here's the problem. Trayvon Boykins has had all kinds of issues since he's been drafted, legal troubles, problems. Okay, he off the field issues and his skill, and then Cap's skill set fits the scheme, and he's a top free agent quarterback. And then you give him all this praise, and then the next day you leave. So this comes back to Mayor's comment. John Mayer says it's about the fans. I've got an email that I've received about not signing a player like him or keeping a guy like that on our team. The fans say I would not come to games if a player protested like Cap did.
Exactly. So yeah. So
why are you worried about the fans? But that's the, and this is a major owner. This is a storied franchise that's not, what's going on?
Well, this is something that I don't understand, because we got killers in the NFL. We got wife beaters.
Hardy.
Yeah, we got wife beaters. We got dudes who don't beat their children.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson. But the one GM decides to come out and talk about the fans' letters he gets when it's about a guy who decided that he wasn't going to stand for the Star Spangled Banner because he's got a voice and he wants to
A nonviolent protest.
A nonviolent, silent
about
protest.
a serious social issue.
Yeah. So the owner comes out and says, I got fans who call in and say, who write me letters and say, I won't come if you sign this guy. Not I won't come if you sign, Jason Pierre-Paul, who's been a moron. Not saying that he's been a vicious guy. Greg Hardy. Yeah. But I think it's absolutely very questionable, and it raises a lot of eyebrows in who the higher ups in the league are making the decisions, and who the people are that feel so adamant about what Colin Kaepernick did that they write letters. I want to know if you're writing letters about Joe Mixon. Are you writing letters about Tyreek Hill? And if you are, then why is it the GM talking about it? Because he decided to talk about Cap. And there's a lot of worse guys than him in the league.
And the worst part is, you're looking at their back. If let's say Eli gets a helmet right down his sternum, he's done. You got Geno, the Giants are, I would say in my mind, they still have to be a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah.
Okay, you got Geno Smith, who's garbage. And you got Josh Johnson, who's young, but he's hot garbage.
Josh Johnson's not even young anymore.
Yeah.
That's the old San Diego quarterback, Josh Johnson?
I do believe so.
God, how's he still in the league?
No, this is a younger cat. This is a cat that got drafted. No, he's a young cat.
Okay.
But you have no experience. So my thing is now, I don't know what Cap's asking for. So that's the one thing. So if he's asking for some starter money, that could be a problem. But that comment that Mayer made, who is very well respected by his peers, and to think that Jerry Jones wouldn't maybe go out and sign this guy, because Kellen Moore is like 5'9", and if Dak gets hurt, you don't have a great backup. Why is this guy not signed?
Well, that's what I was going into. Is it about the money? Is Cap out here asking for a ridiculous amount of money? There was a rumor that came out that Cap is asking for $9 to $10 million a year, and his camp came out and absolutely refuted it. Right. So the question is, you look at the backups in the league. A good backup in the league, I don't even consider Josh McCown at this point a good backup, but he makes $6 million.
Sure.
I mean, if I'm Colin Kaepernick, I got to be in that $5 million, $6 million range.
Here's the stats, right? In 12 games, 60% completion, 2,200 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That means for every 4 touchdowns he throws one pick. That's pretty good.
What did he have? 600 yards. He had his best rushing year.
500 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, 90% passing rating in 12 games. Now, if you don't want to start him, that's fine. But there's a couple schemes that he fit that he could play in. And if your guy, and we've seen right now, if your guy goes down and you don't have backup, your season's over.
I don't wish any quarterback to get hurt, but it's going to be very interesting if a quarterback of good quality gets hurt. If the GM or the owner is willing to throw his season away or to go out and get a guy like Colin Kaepernick, specifically in a situation like Seattle, to where he fits so well with the system, where they can run some read and they can run a lot of mobile out of the pocket and get him on the move. Is he willing to throw his season away because the fans may not like, and by fans I don't mean all fans, I mean some fans that don't like what he did.
And he said he's not going to do it again. He said he made his point, he made social awareness, he's good, he's moving on. Yeah. So we got to move on, but again, maybe we can get into this next week or the following week. But right now, before we get out of here, we just want to let you know that thank you for listening. And today's show was sponsored and brought to you by Blaze Contracting. Hey, did you see what I wrote? Don't forget to tease Jimmy. Don't forget to tease Jimmy. Yeah, we could have took this a little bit further with that one because I didn't want to get into the racism aspect of it. Have you seen this girl? Yes, Lisa.
Call her Black Panther.
The only thing that bothered me was, if I was in this little rock thing, like, I don't care if that she was, I guess she could kick with Alvin Smith.
Detroit and across America. Currently, Blaze has several major
He's
projects
capable.
going on in Metro Detroit, including the new Little
And then
Caesars
he like, when his pictures like this, he like,
the Detroit Brush Park development,
hey,
Flexing Gate,
so as soon as the commercial's over,
and the new Little
just start
Caesars Red
playing
Wings
music
Arena.
right away.
Hey, sports
I'm
fans,
turning it down,
if you're out
for your
there
talk over it
Yeah.
for a bit.
listening,
I'm not gonna jump right in now. We're gonna start it for a second.
Wait, 5-10 seconds and then turn it down.
they can provide valuable assistance
Turn it down low.
stages,
Just kinda like the intro.
budgeting, design, and of course, the construction process phases of your project. You will experience the administrative needs provided by Blaze that will ensure that your project
Yeah, your mic down.
He was already good.
Blaze to apply it for you and paves your roads.
I
They
heard
won 73 games last year.
Oh, and
Call 313-361-1000
I can't, why is
There we go.
he wait to the final to get so upset about it?
blazecontracting.com.
Well, that wraps up another show here at the Rock and Turk Sports Show. Thank you for tuning in this week. If you didn't catch us during the show live, you can always catch us on the podcast, iTunes, Google Plus. We're everywhere. That's the www.rockandturksportshow.com is our website, or you can find us on Facebook and Twitter. Tune in next week. We've got a special guest, local celebrity. Jimmy King's going to be in next week, and we're going to summarize the NBA Finals, talk about the NBA Draft, and hopefully get into some juicy Fab Five stories from back in the day. Also, we'll be previewing the NBA Draft, as I said before. Hopefully, we get a chance to talk some more Colin Kaepernick. We'll see if he's signed by then. I doubt it. Maybe another GM will come out and talk about some more letters from the fans. But thank you for tuning in this week. If you didn't catch us live, like I said, go to the website, www.rockandturksportshow.com. If you want to tweet something back to us, go to @RockandTurkSports with a Z. And if you want to see us, our stream live show on Facebook, we're at the Rock and Turk Sports Show. That'll be our live feed. Thank you for tuning in this week. We've also got a YouTube channel right now up, the Rock and Turk Sports Show as well. You can become a subscriber and see all our shows videotaped. Thanks for tuning in. Rock, what you think?
another good show. Glad everybody was listening. Please go to all the social media, like us, and like you said, subscribe to the YouTube, and keep rolling in with those emails and Twitter responses. We respond as hopefully as soon as we get them, and just looking forward to talking to Mr. King next week.
Cheer!
Y'all still my boys, right?
Who, me? Oh, he texted me 20 times.